Hello, Heinz. What's up today, man?
The usual stuff. Something, pretty typical for us. Recording a podcast. I think that's something we do quite regularly.
Yep, the Sunday afternoons. That's what we do. Yep. I'm tired as can be because I played a show again. And for some reason, this one just hit me twice as hard. And I barely slept last night. And I tried to take a nap this afternoon and it was just blah. So I'm tired as can be. But we had a good show, good turnout.
Mm-hmm.
Played a lot of fun songs from 90s rock. So it was a really good time. I had a blast doing it.
Any covers of Stone Temple Pilots?
Oh, if any of my bandmates are listening right now, they know how I feel about Stone Temple Pilot. I'd go along with it. I don't care for them. But yeah, we played.
I was just going 90s rock. That's kind of one of the big ones.
Yeah, we played quite a few of their songs. Not my favorite, but I'm just one vote out of 4. So there we go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I could have said other names, but I knew that STP grinded your gears. So yeah, that's what I dropped. So should we just talk about covers? Being, you're in a cover band and there's a lot of covers out there.
Let's talk about covers. That'll be fun. It's a good topic for today. All right, well, let's hit that music and we'll come back and talk about music. Here we go. We are back from the music, and today we're talking about cover songs. Now, the list that I made is famous bands who have played other famous bands or musician songs over the year and cover them, and maybe even had more success with that song than the original band did. So, Heinz, why don't you lead us today? What do you got?
I gotta be honest with you. I just got a bunch of stuff thrown all over the place because just in my head, I kind of just kicked out a bunch of cover songs and even some artists that hit it big being covered or were covered, so to speak. So just to start it off, we have to give homage? We have to give homage to the greatest artist ever to be covered that made the most money of any covered musician as far as I know. And do you care to guess who she is?
Oh, is it Dolly Parton?
It is. It is. She has made a ton of money off of 2 songs, many other ones included, but 2 big ones. I Will Always Love You by Whitney Houston. That's hers. And also Jolene, which has been covered by some rock bands, Reba McEntire. So Dolly's, I saw it on a TV show a few months ago. Her policy is, if you can go make me a bunch of money by singing my songs, go for it. It's all yours.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you've never watched the video or heard this version of Jolene, it's super, super cool. I recommend go on YouTube, check this out. Someone took Dolly Parton's original recording and put it on like a, vinyl disc, turntable thing, and they slowed the speed of it down. So it becomes a little bit slower tempo and her voice drops just a little bit. And so it sounds almost like a male tenor voice singing. And it is so cool. Slower version with a little bit lower voice. Not that Dolly Parton's voice isn't amazing. It is. Her original version of that song is so sick, but it's just another perspective of the song that it's like, wow, like you can completely change the dynamic of that song, Jolene. And it is so freaking good. Go listen. Go find it on YouTube right now.
We don't do this very often. We don't pay homage to Dolly Parton. She's still alive. She's still alive, but we will officially declare her as one of the greatest covered artists of all time. We do it right here on the What Means to Say.
We should pay homage to her like we do Chris Farley because she is just that good.
Yeah. All right, what do you got?
All right, well, I have a list of my 10 favorite famous songs that were covered by other artists, along with the original artists. So I'll just go through them quick, and they're just in complete random order. Number 1 is All Along the Watchtower, the Jimi Hendrix version, which was a song written by Bob Dylan.
Also known as Robert Zimmerman.
Old Bobby Z. Number 2 is Hallelujah, the Jeff Buckley version. Now, there are thousands of versions of the song Hallelujah, originally written and performed by Leonard Cohen, but the Jeff Buckley one is perfection. It is absolute perfection. The number 3 is the song Hurt, which was covered by Johnny Cash, the late great Man in Black. And that is originally a Nine Inch Nails Trent Reznor song. Number 4 is The Man Who Sold the World, performed by Nirvana on Nirvana Unplugged, originally written by and performed by David Bowie. Yeah.
Yep.
I've actually heard his last name might be pronounced Bowie, David Bowie. I hear people pronounce it that way sometimes. It's hard for me to say because it's just Bowie in my head. All right. Number 5, we already talked about this, Jolene. My particular favorite version is by the White Stripes. I love Jack White, Meg White. I love the White Stripes. And so that version has a special place in my heart. Number 6 is the song Stand By Me by Benny King. And my favorite version is one done by probably my favorite musician of all time, John Lennon. Number 7 is Landslide, originally done by Fleetwood Mac and performed as a solo acoustic by Billy Corgan of the Smashing Pumpkins, who played several of their songs last night. That was really fun. Number 8 is, this is kind of an odd one. It's a Stevie Wonder song called Higher Ground. And the version of it that I love is done by the Red Hot Chili Peppers. They did it in the late 80s before they became super, super famous. It's really cool. It's kind of like super fast paced, funky version. Number 9, we're going to the Isley Brothers and the song Twist and Shout, performed by the Beatles. The Beatles covered that song and made it super popular. And my last one is kind of on the heavier side. It is the original song was done by Thin Lizzy, and it's a song called Whiskey in the Jar. And the version that I really like is by Metallica. So that's it. That's my 10 list.
Yeah, that came from the Garage Inc. album, which was an entire cover album Metallica recorded, and actually recorded it, if I remember right, from 87 until I think it was 95, but it was released in 97. They had actually one of my favorite cover songs. They had 2 of them on there that I absolutely, all right, I gotta lie, 3. There's 3 cover songs in there that are probably my favorite 3 of all time. Turn the Page, which is a Bob Seger original.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Tuesday's Gone, Leonard Skinner, which they recorded with the guy that plays the harmonica from Blues Traveler. And he kind of did the harmonica throughout it. I cannot think of his name right now.
John Popper, I believe.
Okay. And the other one that I just really love from that album is Stone Cold Crazy, which is a Queen original song, which is like awesome. Now they had a bunch of other ones on there. You said Whiskey in the Jar, Thin Lizzy, Last Caress, Green Hell, which is the Misfits, Sabra Cadabra, Black Sabbath. But it's like the whole album is just an homage, once again, to great 70s, 60s, and 70s rock and roll. And they just did a really good job with it.
Yeah, and they do it in their own style. It's super rad. Yeah, that's a really, really great album. Good call.
Yeah, there were actually 2 more albums that came to mind that were purely cover song albums. And a lot of people don't realize it until you because they think that they were actually written originally by the band, at least in one case. The Renegades album by Rage Against the Machine.
Yes. It's so
all
good.
It's all covers. The whole thing is covers. So Renegades of Funk, it's a cover. How I Could Just Kill a Man, that's Cypress Hill. That's a cover.
Cypress Hill. Kick Out the Jams by the MC5.
Yeah. The Ghost of Tom Joad, that's by the Boss, Bruce Springsteen.
Yeah.
Street Fighting Man, Rolling Stones.
The Stones.
Maggie's Farm. Any idea who originally recorded Maggie's Farm? That was on the Renegade album.
It's a Dylan song, isn't it?
It's a Robert Zimmerman. Yeah,
Bobby
exactly.
Z. Bobby Z.
Yep. Now, another album that's all covers, and the reason it's all covers is because the band they couldn't get along with each other, and they had to record a 5th album as a band, and they had to get it out in the early 90s in order to meet contractual obligations.
Okay.
Guns N' Roses, The Spaghetti Incident, was
Oh,
actually a bunch of covers that were recorded during the Use Your Illusion recordings,
okay.
Use Your Illusion 1 and 2. Now, it's not nearly as good as Renegades by Rage Against the Machine or the Garage Inc. album by Metallica, but it does
Hmm.
have a couple of really good songs on there. Hair of the Dog by Nazareth. I mean, Axl Rose actually sounds pretty good singing that.
Okay.
Attitude by the Misfits. I like the Misfits, so they keep popping up.
Yeah.
Black Leather by the Sex Pistols. Everything else in the album, not that good, but there's some good ones on there for what the guys just did just to meet a contract,
Right.
because
Yeah.
they hated each other at that point and they just
Yeah.
had to release an album and they just threw it out.
And they called it the Spaghetti Incident. Like that might have to be one of the greatest album names of all time.
Mhm. One cover album that like absolutely saddens me to listen to, but it was really, really, really good is the Johnny Cash album you mentioned. The Man Comes Around, because he recorded everything 7 months before he died.
Right.
And
Yeah.
like big time superstars were like flocking to
Yeah.
get on the album somehow, whether it was their, written music or they were able to perform with them. But he did Rusty Cage by Soundgarden.
Yep.
It's like the craziest sounding Rusty Cage you've ever heard.
Right. It's wicked.
And then he did Bridge Over Troubled Water, which is a Paul Simon song.
Yeah.
And every one of them just kind of makes you like shiver a little bit, like, oh man, like this guy knows, like this is it. And if you watch the music videos on YouTube, I'd highly suggest that, because there are some really, really like sad parts to the videos, but then there's like some really uplifting ones, and it's pretty good to watch.
Yeah. I didn't even know that he did that Paul Simon song. Oh, I'll have to
Mhm.
check that out. The only two that I knew were Rusty Cage and Hurt, which are arguably better than the original versions for sure. Like I think Hurt by Johnny Cash is better than the Nine Inch Nails version, personally.
They said that Reznor was actually worried that Johnny Cash wouldn't do that well with Hurt. Like he was like, okay, I got to go help this guy. Like I got to make sure this thing's like right. And then he heard like the first cut. He's like, wow. Like, because doesn't Johnny just read? He doesn't really sing. He just kind of reads the lyrics throughout.
Yeah. It's mostly, it sounds like it's 70% written, like 30% singing. Like his pitch does shift throughout, but it is more spoken word than anything, which sounds weird and sounds like it's going to be strange, but it is so good.
Yeah. A guy that wrote a lot of songs, and I'm guilty of it because I kind of grew up listening to all genres of music. So this one's going to be like a way out there for you. Have you ever heard of the Highwaymen?
Oh, I know the name. Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Is it
it's like Willie Nelson Jennings, Waylon Jennings?
Waylon Jennings?
Right?
Yeah.
And then there's another guy, I don't remember the name. Haggerty? Sarah Haggerty or something. But then there's a fourth guy that no one like knows about, and he was an actor. And I think he was pretty popular in what would have been like 70s and 80s rom-coms, their version of it. Chris Christopherson. You ever heard that name before?
Yeah, I know who that is. Yeah.
He was like a prolific writer, and he's a very good performer, but he didn't do a lot on his own. He wrote for a lot of other people. And I was actually shocked. I watched a special on him a few years ago that he actually wrote a lot of songs that Janis Joplin sang.
Oh, okay.
And one of the big ones was Me and Bobby McGee.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. That's actually, he gets all credits for that. So it's kind of like she covered, because he wasn't very popular, but that was his song.
But he's a heck of a songwriter.
Yeah. Same thing with Johnny Cash. There's a lot of songs that Chris actually performed and whatever, and Johnny's like, give me that, I can do it better. So we got to give tribute to Chris Christopherson just for his writing ability.
Little shout out.
And then, and he wasn't very popular, so when he wrote a song and performed it, people are like, hey, that's actually pretty good, but it'd be better if I did it. So we gotta give credit with that.
Yep.
One other quick one. I honestly thought it was he was the original artist that sang it, and I feel real bad about this. American Woman by Lenny Kravitz.
Yeah.
Not his.
No.
Same.
It's like an old 60s or 70s song, right? Yeah.
The Guess Who. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Same thing with Led Zeppelin. I thought that they actually performed all their own original music. Nope, not the case. Dazed and Confused, not theirs. Whole Lot of Love, not theirs. When the Levee Breaks, not theirs. All covers. And literally every one of those, they didn't steal. They took from another band, and basically, because they were so popular, they made the songs popular.
Right.
So yeah, covers are a great topic. That was fun just to think about for like 10 minutes.
Right. Yeah. And now you got some good things to go listen to and some good videos to go watch. So right on. That's great. That's all I have for the day. Do you have anything else?
No, other than this is from my childhood. Go listen to Al Green, Take Me to the River. Been covered many times. And I'm just telling you, from my childhood, I had to listen to it many times. You will enjoy it. So if you can take one takeaway from this podcast, Al Green, Take Me to the River.
All right. You heard it first. Go check it out. All right. We'll be back soon with another fun topic. But until then, have a safe, happy week. And we'll check you all later. Bye.
Bye.